Welcome to Elevated Women, the podcast where energetics meets strategy and wealth becomes who you are. I'm your host, Myra Swankotze, subconscious reprogramming master, energetics mentor, multi-seven-figure coach, and Brain's 500 global honoree for my work in conscious business leadership. This space is your portal, a frequency upgrade for the woman who's done shrinking and ready to claim everything she came for. Let's melt the old patterns, rewire your money story, and build a wildly aligned business from your highest self. This is your next evolution. Let's begin. Welcome back to Elevated Woman Queen. There's a kind of power that doesn't need to rush, that doesn't prove, perform, or push. It doesn't fill the silence, it owns it. That is presence. And presence is leadership. It's the currency of women who move entire rooms with a single look, who shift timelines without saying a word, and who magnetizes results by being deeply here. Now, I want you to understand that this doesn't just work for you when you're in a room or when you're speaking on stages, when you're attending networking events, because many of us don't do that. This doesn't just work for you in rooms. It works for you everywhere else. It works for you on your Zoom calls, your voice notes to your clients, your content, your podcast interviews, your podcast recordings. So today I want to talk about the kind of presence that speeds everything up, not because you're doing more, but because your energy finally lands. Now, I need you to really think about this. What does it mean when your energy finally lands? I'll tell you in this episode how that works. But it takes work. It takes internal work for you to get your energy to finally land. And when it landed for me, when I realized what I needed to do and how I needed to change my energy, and I've done it a couple of times. Believe me, it's not something that you change once. As you grow and as your audience grows and as your programs evolve, your energy needs to evolve. So it's a lifetime commitment that you make to your energy. But it is the best commitment that you can ever make to yourself. So true leadership isn't louder. It's deeper, steadier, and anchored. When you're present, your field communicates before your mouth does. People can feel the difference between a woman who's thinking of her next move and one who's fully rooted in this moment. Presence transmits safety. Safety builds trust. Trust accelerates results. That's the sequence no strategy can outwork, because strategy can create momentum, but only presence sustains it. Presence says, I'm not hustling for your attention. I already hold the room. That's the energy that makes clients lean in. That's the energy that makes money respond. That's the energy of the woman who doesn't chase success. She calibrates the world to her. I want you to hear that again. She calibrates the world to her. That's what happens when your energy lands, as you learn how to calibrate the world to her, to you. Most women move fast because they don't trust what happens in stillness. They think speed equals power, but fast energy is often leaky energy. And I've been there. I've been stuck in that loop many times and had to break out of it. When you slow down, you give your message weight. You give your decisions room to breathe. You give your team, your clients, and your audience space to feel you. And feeling is what converts. Feeling is what makes people buy, commit, follow, stay. Presence isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most. This is critically important. I need you to understand it, and if you've listened to previous episodes with me, you'll know that I make this very clear in almost every episode I talk about energy. It doesn't mean you need to work less in your business. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to sell less. On the contrary, you still have to keep selling as much as you do. And if you haven't started selling or you don't like selling, that is something that you need to calibrate into, because your business will never be successful. And it's an energetic calibration. The slower you go, the more exact your energetic impact becomes. And that again doesn't mean doing less. Understand this very clearly. If you stop doing the actual work, the external work, the posting, the messages, the sales pages, the ads, whatever it is that you use in your business, and there are many things that we all use externally in our business, the stuff that we need to do to bring in clients, to change lives, to change the world, needs to still happen. I often see it in my clients, especially the energy workers and energetic healers, or let me think, who else? The spiritual leaders and spiritual, they believe that their angels will bring them clients, or they believe that things has to happen in divine timing. And yes, sometimes things has to happen in divine timing, and other times you need to know when to just go ahead and do the work. And when we're talking about divine timing, it's not this concept of I can just sit and my angels will bring me clients, because your angels aren't going to bring you clients, darling. You need to bring your own clients into your business. That's your job, not your angel's job, not God's job, not the universe's job. It's your job. And this is where it becomes critically important. Sometimes people think we can just do the energetic work. We don't have to do the external work, the work that we do in our businesses to bring in clients. And if you're doing that, I'm not the coach for you. I very much believe in energetic work. I very much believe in the internal work, but I also equally believe in the external work that needs to happen. The work that comes from the male energy, the funnels, and I mean not male funnels, bro marketing. I'm talking about feminine marketing. There's a big difference. Okay, and that is what you need to do. You need to have feminine funnels in place. You need to write content. You need to make sales. It's your responsibility, your job, and it's an energetic calibration. If your energetic calibrations are correctly applied and done and embodied, the external work will happen if you don't block it. So this is very much about that, because you cannot change the lives of people if you sit and wait for your angels to bring you your clients, okay? You change lives by bringing clients to yourself, by being the leader that they need. And this is what this episode is about. In my business, some of the biggest quantum leaps didn't happen in the middle of a launch when I still did them. They happened in the silence between moves. The message I didn't rush. The decisions I didn't force. When I took those few seconds or moments to just have some quiet space and think about it, being present and feeling into it and putting my energy into it, that's when the quantum leaps happened. The posts I waited to write or spend some more time with, the energy that I put into that work of writing a post before I actually started the post, the time that I took, and it's not a long time. You don't have to take hours of energy work or do a lot of energy work before you start writing a piece of content. So don't use that as an excuse It takes a few moments of stillness and a few moments of energetic calibration to be able to do that. Okay. And I make sure that my frequency matched the intention. That's where it's important. Your frequency needs to match the intention of that piece of content or that message that you're writing or that decision that you're making. And here's a way you can do this. What I want you to do is, before you even create a piece of content, before you create a video, before you create a podcast episode, before you get on a coaching call, doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, before you go and speak on a stage, I want you to take a few minutes and just calibrate energetically. Energetically sit down and just be still with yourself and think, who do I want this message to reach? Because every piece of content you put out there is a message. Who do I want this message to reach? And therefore, you need to know who you want this message to reach. And then you calibrate. You say out loud, this message is specifically for these people, and you mention them. And then you say that I want these people to hear this message that can change their lives. Okay? That's how you calibrate. And that is leadership. Taking those quiet moments before you do something, calibrating before you do something, not doing less. Presence is a power that doesn't need to perform. You can feel it in a woman when she walks into a room, gets on a Zoom call, and it instantly shifts the air. The person on the other side feels it. They don't necessarily know why. They don't even consciously maybe know it. But unconsciously, they feel it. Not because you're louder, but because you hear, grounded in your body, certain in your impact, unattached to outcome. And the only way you can become certain in your impact and unattached to the outcome is when you calibrate, when you take the time to be still and present. Because when you take time to be still, that's when you become present. And presence is power. Not ugly power, beautiful, feminine power. That's the kind of energy that clients crave, because presence creates coherence, and coherence creates speed. Now you might say to me, but Myra, you just said I need to take time, not to act fast. And now you tell me that coherence creates speed. Yes, I am. When we just act fast and we don't calibrate and we don't become present in the moment, that speed very often leads to nothing. It's when we take the moment before we take the decision or before we do something to calibrate that creates speed. That creates quantum leaps. It's the paradox of female leadership. The slower you move, the faster the universe rearranges. The quieter you become, the louder your field speaks. Presence is the energetic command that makes your offer land, your content convert, your team rise, and your mission ripple through everything you touch. Now, before we continue, I need you to understand that if you are the introvert like I am, This is extremely important in your life and in your business. It's going to give you the confidence that you need. It's going to help you to get rid of that imposter syndrome, the fears that you might be carrying inside of you, because introverts do. We do have those. We feel them strongly. Okay. And over the years, over more than 20 years in business, I've learned, and especially all those years that I worked in the corporate world, I've learned to suppress them to be able to be the successful business owner I was many years ago inside the corporate world in our offline businesses. But eventually the cracks came and it opened up, and I couldn't just keep suppressing, and I needed to calibrate my energy. I needed to make those changes in my life, especially after coming online, and I've been online for a year already. Everything fell apart for me at that point, and that's around 12 years ago already by now. And since then, I have learned that calibration is an extremely important thing. And that I need to have my energy move and evolve with me as I grow, as my clients grow, as my audience grows. I need to be able to calibrate my energy so that I can be the leader that they need. For those of you who are the extroverts, congratulations to you. I sometimes wish I was an extrovert. But I have also realized that it's not always easier when you are an extrovert. There are many extroverts that makes money. There are many introverts that makes money. And then there are equally as many extroverts and introverts that never makes any money or very little money. And the reason that that happens is because they haven't done this. They haven't done the internal work, and they haven't had the energy land. They're not present. Those who make the money, they have realized that presence is the energetic command that they needed. And they have done the internal work. That's why they are successful constantly. Because even the extroverts get to a point in their time where they feel that calling, that crack, that longing for their presence to come out. We all we've all felt it at some point or the other, and we have pivoted, and we have calibrated our presence and our energy so that we can be the leaders and the coaches that makes a difference in the world. So I want to share with you how I practice this in real time, even in high stakes seasons. Now, I don't do launches anymore. I sell regularly every day. I don't work with launches anymore. I sell behind the scenes. I've got many ways of selling, but I don't do launches anymore. But I did do them. And when I did, this is what I did. And I still do this. I just do it differently. So the first one is the 3-second rule. It's really important. Before replying to a message, take 3 full breaths. Let your energy catch up with your words. Then respond from leadership. Now do this when you start creating content as well. Before you sit down to write that content or create a video, or doesn't matter what kind of content you create. Content is content. They've got different shapes and forms. Even before you're going to get on a stage, it doesn't matter what you do. Before you create a sales page, before you create a new program, do this. This 3-second rule is really, really powerful. Just take 3 full breaths. It gives you time to calibrate, and it gives you time to become present. So the 3-second rule is critically important in everything you do, and that is how you calibrate. So you don't need to take hours out of your time and not work on your business to calibrate and to become present. Just use this 3-second rule. Okay? 3 deep, full breaths before anything. Number 2 is the energetic eye contact. When you're on camera, on stage, or in a conversation, see the person in front of you. Don't talk at them, transmit through them. Now, this is one where I get asked, how do I do that? How do I transmit through someone? How do I know if I'm talking at them? When you do the first one, the 3-second rule, and you breathe before you get on the camera, whether it's a Zoom call or whether it's a video, before you get on stage or before you have a conversation, before you send a voice note, your whole energy changes. It gives you time to become present. And when you do that and you add eye contact, that is when you start transmitting through them. Now you can say to me, but how do I have eye contact when I'm just shooting a video? Don't look around. Look at the camera. Look at the person you're talking to. Pretend they're there and talk to them. And if you need to look at notes occasionally move your eye contact. That's fine. But don't sit and look around and turn your head to the left or to the right or look up for too long. You don't want to lose eye contact too quickly, especially when you are doing a coaching call and you're on Zoom in your conversations, okay? Now, eye contact is not something you can do in a voice note. So the 3-second rule is the one that rules only in that one. You can't have eye contact in a voice note, okay? Number 3 is pause between wins. Before jumping into the next thing, integrate the last one. That pause anchors the lesson, the gratitude, and the energetic expansion. And I can hear you already. How, Myra, is the question that I know is in your head. And how you do that is if you go from one launch to a next, take time in between your launches to look at what worked. Be grateful for what worked and look at what didn't work. But don't criticize what didn't work. Just learn the lessons and anchor them. Okay? The gratitude and the energy that happens in that period of time makes a huge difference. Now, if you sell differently, if you don't jump from one launch to the other, I do this on a daily basis. I pause every evening and I write down what went really well today. And I learn the lessons that I need to learn from that. I am grateful for what went well. And I look at what didn't go so well. And I acknowledge it. And I tell myself, tomorrow I will come back differently. And that energetic expansion is exactly what makes me the coach that so many women choose to work with. That's how you hold more, not just achieve more. It also works to help you not to burn out if you are the kind of person that gets to burn out very quickly. Some of us don't. It's very much part of your human design. Some of us get to burn out very quickly. Some of us never get to burn out, but we do get exhausted. And that is exactly how you do it. You have some stillness. Now, I have stillness every evening because I don't do launches anymore. I just have some still time every day, and I look at what happened in my day. And I look at everything that I've done energetically as well as the strategy part in my business. Okay. Presence isn't softness, it's sovereignty. It's the quiet authority that makes people remember your name long after you've left the room, long after they read your posts, long after they've seen your video or your live, long after the coaching. You don't build wealth by racing ahead. You build it by being so here that the next level has no choice but to meet you. And this part is very important again. When you are energetically very aligned, when you are very present, your next level has no choice but to meet you. It is just a given, and that is what quantum leaping is about. So this week, I want you to slow your steps, soften your speech, not become quieter. Just soften your speech a little bit. For the extroverts that are loud and expressive, try to just soften your speech a tiny little bit. Don't dim yourself. It's not the same thing. Just try it and see how it works. And expand your awareness. Your awareness needs to be expanded for this to work. Notice where you rush, where you fill the silence, where you don't fully land. Then choose presence. Because when you do, the world can finally catch up with the woman you've already become. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode and that you've learned a lot. And if you want to chat to me about how to do this, you can DM me and I will gladly respond. You can DM me on Facebook. Until next time, stay elevated. Thank you for tuning into Elevated Woman. If today's episode activated something in you, share it, tag me, or come say hi in the DMs. And if you're ready to go deeper, head to myriswankotze.com to grab your free gift or explore the offers aligned with your next level. Until next time, own your power, claim your wealth, and rise as the elevated woman you came here to be.